Hey guys, this is Swenchi Sensi, and today I'm gonna read you guys another Naruto fanfiction, and the author is Sora Hoshi. And I kind of read almost like to chapter two, but I was like, you know what? Let's find out together all the chapters. So this has 11 chapters. So yeah, so little description. What if Naruto was really a girl? What if the villagers didn't actually listen to the Hokage? What if Naruto has been in communication with the Kyuubi since youth? Basically, a rewrite of Naruto's very different thoughts. So the first chapter is a dark rape scene. So yeah, so this we're just warning. This has raping, beating, harassment, swearing, morbidness, and depression. Just to let you guys know, if you guys are not cool with that, then I'm not saying like don't watch the video. If you guys want to watch it, watch it. But either way, let's get it. Chapter 1. Life in Konoha was the same as always. Well, is it peaceful? Well, is it at peace? My bad. Children running about laughing, mothers talking to each other as they watch the children. Other adults conducting their business. Everything was the same except for one thing. Far out in the woods, far away from the guard's post, even though most would turn a blind eye to the noise, was a child screaming for mercy. This is where our story begins. 4 years old, Naru screamed again, muffled by the gag as the large appendage was shoved roughly into her small entrance. Yet another smack was heard throughout clearing. Her head wiped to the side, her cheek already bloody and red, speeding up the red fluid, which dripped back down to her throat. That process repeated every few seconds. Severe cuts crisscrossing her tiny body, blood coloring the ground red in the area surrounding her. The man above her grinned ruthlessly. "Take it, demon. Take your punishment," he snarled in a poisonous voice. No alcohol scented in his breath or the men around him, each waiting for their turn, some having already went. It was her birthday. Tears poured down the young girl's cheeks. As long hair snarled, dirty and covered in her blood. Chunks had been cut off roughly with the kunai knife. Oh, sorry about that. Giving her a haggard appearance. If she had been neat and clean, something she never was. All the Shao Jinchuriki could remember was waking up to a gag roughly being shoved into her mouth. The orphanage director glaring at her as a blindfold was put over her eyes, and a smelling cloth being pressed roughly over her nose. Soon she was forced to take a breath. Her lungs demanded air, and she blacked out, only to wake up to something worse. Her clothes had been stripped off of her small body with a kunai, torn to shreds and hidden under bushes to decompose. Not that she knew any of that. She had woken up when the first man had shoved his way into her. The child screamed, her tiny hands coming up to try to push the man away. Her small fingers desperately flailing about, scratching his skin. Someone else's hand grabbed her own and tied them together with some bandages. Cuts started appearing on her body as time wore on. My bad. But the third male to take his share of administering, I think that's how you say it, to be honest. I don't know how to read, to be honest. I'm stupid. So administering the torture it could be called. The cuts from the kunai, shinchuriken, senbon, and nagotos were deep and lands in with red chakra. At the start of the fourth rape, Naruto fainted. She was quickly revived with a sap from an electrical charged chakra covered hand. "You can't faint yet, demon. Your punishment isn't finished." One of the men snarled as the other one shared on the one raping her. The young girl sobbed, wondering why this was happening to her. By the middle of the sixth rape, Naruto had fainted 10 times. Bloodlust, major internal injuries, broken bones, and other ailments, becoming too much for the small body. As the child's eyesight started to become fuzzy, she heard a quiet voice emerge from from above the ground with her sensitive hearing. This one was different from the others who had been raping her. Female, she realized fuzzily, her mind slipping in and out of consciousness as a muffled sob emerged from her ragged throat, and the woman's voice seemed to turn angry. The young girl gave up the battle with consciousness to fall into a becoming black void, filled with relief. The man had trouble reviving her the last few times, and the damages that they had done to her body and her chakra system so immense. What the hell do you guys think you're doing to that child? Tsunade stated quietly, her eyes narrowed dangerously. The light that seemed to be coming from them almost demonic in nature. She and Shizune had been passing by on the way to another town when they had heard a muffled scream of a child. The man she had landed next to on the branch above the group gave her a view of only the tiny girl's arms, hands, and feet, but she could see the blood soaking in the ground and the chunks of dirty, bloody blood hairs strewn about the clearing. Go about your business, Kunoichi. This is our retribution. One of the more arrogant, pig-headed shinobi said, not recognizing her. Several voices their agreement, but it was soon silent as she turned her glare from one man to the next. Retribution? She asked quietly, dangerously. It seems to me like torture. I know I've been gone from Konoha for several decades, however, this seems to be out of line. Are you shinobi from the bloody mist? In disguise, perhaps? This seems more like something they would do than what some of our own shinobi will be capable of. She said in the same voice, almost truthfully. Who are you? The man next to her asked, almost timidly. He could feel the vast amount of killing intent rolling off her in barely suppressed waves. However, none of the other could. Your death warrant, she said, just as quietly, using a chakra-infused hand to knock him out quickly. A signal she used to tell Shizune, who had hidden so skillfully that only the higher Anbu forces would have been able to tell that she was there. Senbon, coated in anesthetic, sprung towards the unsuspected men who were all gaping like idiots at the woman who had just released her major amount of killing intent. The 12 men standing around in the clearing dropped quickly to the ground, knocked out. Shizune quickly used the highest Anbu knot to tie the men up as Tsunade knocks out the man above the child. Kneel down. Not caring about she kneels down, my bad. Tsunade kneels down, not caring about the blood, and gently removed the man's appendage from the tiny girl's entrance, restraining her anger barely as the damage to the girl was shown. She quickly removed the gag and bindings of the man had used from the child's mouth, arms, and tenderness. In her movements one believed the fury she was feeling from the actions of the group of men. How is she still alive? Tsunade wondered as the blonde girl took a shallow, uneven breath in. The child's eyes flashed open, and the medic suddenly shoved herself backwards as an animalistic growl emerged from the child's throat. Slitted red eyes glaring up at her. Leave, commanded us. Strangled, animalistic, surprisingly male-sounding voice as red chakra emerged from the child's stomach, slowly inching up her body in order to heal the wounds inflicted upon. The blonde Kunoichi blinked and shook her head, trying to see past the face of her dead loved ones and save the girl laid out in front of her right now. No, you need my help, she said fiercely, her hands starting to glow. Shizune held her breath and hoping that this shall might be enough to wake her friend and her teacher from the rut she had been stuck in since the blonde's lover's death. Leave now, the child hissed, its eyes slowly closing. Most of the flesh wounds were almost gone, and half of the bones that had been broken were fixed. The other half been straightened. and it had started to heal, but the fox was already running low. From the hours of healing he had already done on his container's body, over time, the man had been raping her. No, I won't leave someone else, let alone a child, to die from these wounds. You need my help. The medic said, glaring down at the young girl. Do not think I do not know who you are. Medic sounding Tsunade, teammate of Jiraiya, the sage toad, mentor of the one who sealed me. We know we will die today. The child is embracing it for me. It is a relief from the pain of watching and feeling my container's treatment the way she is. The QB no Katsune. Tsunade finally realized. She stated quietly, the child's eyelids sagging as the duo started to embrace death. Then why did you heal her? Why even try? Tsunade asked, frustrated. The QB's container's eyes closed wearily, to show that we're not defeated in the end, that we were strong enough to fight off and never give in. Came the weak yet strong voice of a young girl, making Tsunade's jump and shock. The child's eyelid fluttered open, and the sun stared into the deepest blue eyes she had ever since Jiraiya's apprentice Minato Namikaze. I'm sorry, but I have to save you. I cannot let another die in front of me, Tsunade said softly, a tear trickling down her cheek, as she realized just who this child's parents were. How could this man not know? Or did these people still do it to the child when they knew whose child it was? Let alone that she's a child. How could Sensei not stop this? The blonde wondered as she started to heal the girls lying on the ground in front of her. Tsunade-sama, please let me help. Shizune said softly, tears trickling down her face from the damage she could see once she had walked over where her sensei was sitting down. Sorry about that. Tsunade now was all that she got in the way of replying. Her teacher already concentrating hard on the child in front of her. Hours later, the two women finished healing the child, one shocked at the brutality of the human race. The amount of old scars, tissues she had found. She noted that this wasn't her first time, that this had happened, and that these torture sessions were bad enough that even the QB fabled amount of chakra wasn't enough to heal the girl's body completely. The other was too shocked at the amount of damage inflicted upon a mere child of her to think about anything else. Shizune, please go buy a set of child's clothes, preferably a simple kimono with a high neck undershirt. Something to hide the scars, until the girls can put up whatever genjutsu she used to hide them in the first place. The blonde said, snapping out of her thoughts. Yes, Tsunade-sama, Shizune said as she stood shakily, not noticing the blood clinging to her light gray kimono. Make sure to change first, and do not say anything to anyone. We will go to the Hokage first. The Sanin ordered quietly as she started to make a plan in her head. Shizune nodded and disappeared through the trees to where the duo had left their bags. Earlier in the day, in order to find out what had been happening, as she passed one of the men who were still knocked out, she gave a vicious kick to the nether region, the man curling up and screaming in pain even though he was still unconscious. Alright, I should probably move her away from this place, Tsunade thought as she gathered the girls into her arms. I'm going to the stream nearby, Tsunade called after her apprentice and friend as she stood up and made her way out of the clearings with the child in her arm. Oh god. Right. Chapter 2. Kid. Wake up, kid. The voice of the QB sounded worried as it drifted into Naru's consciousness of her unconsciousness. Q-shan? My bad. What is Naruto? Naru said weakly, her eyes fluttering open. Her body never left it. Was in pain when she came here, much to her relief. Yes, kid. Time to wake up. There's something I need to teach you before Tsunade-san wakes you up again later tomorrow. The kitsune said quietly, its eyes narrowed. The pretty lady who wanted to help us? The child asked just as quickly as she sat up slowly, surprising she was in a comfy bed, not like the cold hardwood floor space. Not like the cold hardwood floor space she had it in the orphanage whenever she was forced to sleep there. The water in the area had disappeared long ago as Nara figured out how to fiddle with the settings in her mindscape. The area that contained the QB, which she had made much more roomy and comfortable. A birthday present of sort that she given him a year ago. QB taught her a lot of things, how to talk properly, how to write, read, and now she started to learn how to control her chakra. And she being a regular child, her chakra coil may have still been underdeveloped for a child, but because of the kitsune house inside of her, she could control and manipulate her chakra already, and her coils were as well off as an adult within a child's body and still growing. A feed on her in our 4-year-old of the most recent generation since Uchiha Itachi, who assuming had the same early growth spurt in his coils, even though he did not house a demon. Yes, Tsunade-san is the pretty lady. She helped heal us so we could live. We would live. My bad about that, guys. Cupid replied, taking a human-like appearance to allow some space in the cage he lived in. For the past 4 years, he could now continue to live in for a foreseeable future. The red-haired, red-eyed, simply 15-year-old male patted the child's head affectionately, much like an older brother would do to his younger sister. But I don't want to go back out there. The child cried out, tears welling up and slipping down her cheeks. She suddenly hugged the kitsune and sobbed, "It'll hurt, and those men will come again, and I don't wanna." The child cried, hugging her brother like a prisoner, tighter as he tugged her back. "I know, but do you want those men to think they beat you?" The redhead asked, knowing the answer already. "No, but they'll hurt me again, just 'cause they can," the blonde replied, hiccuping. She was crying so hard. "I don't think so. Tsunade-san is one of the 3 sons, equal to the Hokage's power. From what I've listened to between the 2 women, they plan on changing a few things," QB answered, a smirk forming on his lips at what he had heard the 2 women to do. The men who had been planning on raping Naros and the ones that had done the deed. 2? But there was only two Sean. The child said, confused enough to stop crying. "There were 2. One was out for your eyesight when you forced yourself awake again, and hiding in the time before that." The red-eyed man corrected, petting the child's head, in a smoothing manner, in an attempt to calm her down. "Now, we need to get started on what you need to learn before you actually wake up. You wouldn't let me teach you this earlier, but now it's necessary for you to learn." Alright guys, well, I have I don't know if I'm gonna have time to finish this, because it's just a little it's like a paragraph right there, and I don't think I have that much time. But yeah, but either way guys, this is actually part 1. I'll post part 2 of oh wait, actually, oh no, we still got a lot more. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop there guys, because I don't think I'm gonna have enough for this part 1. But either way, if you guys like this video, please like it, subscribe,